2 weeks left of the regular season. It's week 14 here in the Simulation Football League, season 26, and it gets started tonight in Detroit as the Detroit Maulers host the DC Dragons. Good evening, everybody. I'm Mike Daggs, and with me in the booth is Gerald Smith. Our stats crew tonight, Ron Haynes and Rochelle Colson, along with our commissioner and producer, Cameron Irvine. You are watching the Simulation Football League on the Virtual Football Network. Gerald, we've got a great game on store. It looks like the Dragons are wearing some gold tonight. We got Detroit in their classic purple and black. You excited for this one?
Very much so, because we got to spend the week in Detroit.
We sure did.
They loved it so much, they said, "Thank you, sir. May I have another?"
Yep.
Right? And we are now here again watch this team do it. But this is one of the better matchups of the season that we're going to see. And this is going to decide where we're at. We could have the changing of first place teams in this division if DC wins this game.
And Detroit currently guarding that number one seed in the playoff race. And if they win, they hang on to it, at least for another week. If not longer, if they lose, then all of a sudden everything goes into a frenzy. So, yeah, and here they are at home once again in the kickoff game of the week, and we'll get things started. They're actually going to get the first shot at it tonight on the field on offense as the ball is teed up and heading their direction. Ethan Flowers will come out onto the field. He went 14 of 23 last week. Gerald, he did throw a couple of interceptions. That return goes up to the 35-yard line. He threw a couple of picks. He did have one touchdown pass, but ultimately it was enough to get it done. They got the win over the Houston Headhunters, another team that, you know, at the beginning of the season looked so good, and now as of late, just a little bit of struggles. But, you know, congrats to Detroit getting up to 8-2.
Man, they look so good. They just look like they were playoff ready, championship ready, right? They, you know, dare I say it, way too early. They looked really, really good, and they put Houston in a lot of tough spots, and they're looking to continue it on this week. 3
receivers on the field here to get the game started. Little toss down to the bottom. Oh, what a move. A little shake and bake by Rashawn Williams. He had over 100 yards last week. In fact, both he and Gibson, we saw a little bit of a running clinic, and I'm expecting to see more of the same. Both Williams and Gibson over 100 yards on the ground last week.
Yeah, look, and they starting out right off really good, right? Getting 9 yards right off first down. It's, you know, at least after the first play, it looked like they picked up right where they left off. I mean, but look, don't sleep on DC, right? DC's 7-3 for a reason.
Chat getting weird already. 2nd down and 1. Ball is handed off to Gibson, and he will be spotted with enough for the first down, which will give me the opportunity to talk about the rest of their offense. We talked about Flowers and Andrew Gibson and Rashawn Williams. We've got Johnny Kim as a backup quarterback. The fullbacks are Terrell Sutherland and Brad Taylor Wright. Receivers we'll see here on this play as that pass goes across the middle. And holy smokes, don't look now. Robert Henson caught a ball. The receivers are Rob Hunt, C.J. Parrish, Jimmy Wint, and Jamar Shelton. The tight ends, you just saw Robert Henson Jr. and Gordel Khan.
Yeah, and Robert had a decent game last week
as
well, right? Like two receptions on 2 targets, no drops.
Flowers going to take off and run with it. He slides for safety after a pickup of 5 yards. 2nd down and 5 coming up.
Yeah, very, very smart decision right there to run, break the pocket, you know, pick up what you can, and then get down, right? So they're playing really, really smart ball, you know, over last week, carried on to this week as well so far in this first drive.
At the 35-yard line in DC territory already. They'll stick down to the ground. Williams takes the carry and bowls over some defenders. Oh, but an injury, and Williams is down. That is huge. A huge potential impact on the game. It's all going to be Gibson now.
Yeah, and this is not something that they wanted, right?
No.
And we're going to see, you know, see how well Gibson can handle it, right? You know, Williams on the season, right? He was on his way to get at least reach 1,000 yards. He was 8-10 coming into this game. Leads the league in rushing touchdowns. So that's that's going to be a huge loss. But look, if Detroit is as good as they say they are, and everybody thinks they are right now, hey, they should be able to just, hey, next man up and keep going right on through.
Well, the next man up right now is Gibson. He is in the backfield, and it'll also fall onto the arm of Flowers. Gibson trying to do his best Williams impersonation as he does the same little shimmy move to try to get some extra yards as Williams did. He'll pick up 4 there, 2nd down and 6 on the defense for DC. You've got Gary Burney, John Gary, Seth Harrison on the defensive line, along with Jose Fuentes, the linebackers, Nick Fargo, Chris Britton III, and Kano Forston. That run going down to a rather slow gentleman, but he got some yards. Keaton with the carry. That's Curtis Keaton. The secondary for DC, Terrence Pearson, Jadoobie-Doo, Ricky Robinson, Gary Clem, who you talked about in the pregame show, Peanut Say, and Will Stern. Pretty solid defense all around.
And you got to give it to this offensive line of Detroit, right? You know, you get a backup in there, sees relatively no time, and this guy's able to pick up 7.
Gibson off tackle to the left, head of lane, and picks up 8 yards. 2nd down and 2, and expect to see Keaton back out on the field now as they will alternate snaps.
Yeah, look, and it's 2nd and 2. They've been way ahead of the chains on every single play here, right? They're picking up chunk yardage. This is quite impressive, even without Williams in the game.
Yeah. Henson moved down to the bottom of the screen. They'll toss that one up to Keaton, and he will be tackled for a 1-yard loss on the play. And that's just one of the problems with some of these the backup players. The speed is just not there.
Yeah, look, and when you run those, and you have to understand what you have at that moment, right? Like, you just can't do a pitch out there that requires speed. You need to just get them straight to the line as quick as possible.
I got Gibson back there, but they're going to hand it off to the fullback and straight up the gut. Brad Taylor Wright sets him up with a 1st down and goal. T. Wright.
Yeah, look, and T. Wright doesn't get that many carries, right? Like, on the season, he's got 12 carry, 47 yards, averages 3.5 yards per carry. No touchdowns on the season. So, in a moment where you might, see Keaton come in the game, do you think they might give the ball to, a Brad Taylor Wright in those situations?
Well, Gibson in the backfield now. Flowers under center. He's going to throw. Throws over the middle, and that one's caught in the end zone for the touchdown, barely. Jimmy Wint gets the catch, gets the score.
What a decent throw right there as we see these people. It's spring outside. They got tans and everything in the stands, but, Jimmy Wint being able to come across and look, and credit to Ethan Flowers for getting it out so quick right as he kind of crossed the area there. So what an impressive drive. They didn't skip a beat with Williams being, being knocked out of the game. Hopefully he'll be back, but seemingly picking up where they left off last week with a very, very impressive opening drive, and we're going to see if DC can answer.
Extra point is up and good, and the Detroit Maulers take a early lead here in this one after a very impressive opening drive. Getting all the way down the field into the end zone, taking up over 4 minutes off the clock. So now DC will get their first shot at it on offense tonight. Sebas Synergy out onto the field, had a bye week after a loss to Fort Worth. In that loss, he threw for almost 300 yards and a couple of touchdowns, did have 1 pick. Synergy with a throw immediately to get the game started, straight over the middle, and that one's out to Connor Weston. As he gets the catch, gets the 1st down.
Man, how good has Connor Weston been like
All-star
over the last
caliber?
few seasons?
Oh,
man.
yeah.
He's been really good, man. Last week he had 7 catches, for 96 yards. And on the season, right, he leads this team in receptions with 62, over 900 yards receiving on the season, 6 touchdown catches. That's 3rd best in the SFL.
Split backs in the backfield for DC. Synergy will still pass. Another quick pass over the middle. That one rocked out of the hands of the receiver. It was intended for James Walters, but defense had something else to say about it. Chris Delro getting the pass breakup.
Yeah, and that's uncharacteristic from James Walters, right? We hadn't seen him drop too many on the season. That's only his 3rd drop on the entire season, right? And even in his previous stops, right? He's typically a sure-handed tight end.
On second down, they'll hand that one off. That one's going to be a tackle for a loss as the run game just goes absolutely nowhere. Sam Harrison loses a yard on the play. And you talked about this run game in the pregame show and its struggles throughout the season. That sets him up with a 3rd and long.
Yeah, and it puts him in a situation right here where you have a decent pass rush from the Maulers, right, all season long. But we'll see how they're going to fare here.
Bunch to the top, throws over the middle. That one's incomplete. Tried to get it out to Connor Weston. In a very short drive. It wasn't a 3-and-out, but it certainly feels like it, as it only took 1 minute off the clock after Detroit was able to burn over 4 minutes on their opening possession. And now Ron Van Cleef on to punt for the Dragons.
Yeah, and that's not how they wanted to start their opening drive either. But, I don't sense any panic on DC's side, right? They're pretty confident about where they are, with their squad. Like I said, quietly getting themselves into this 7-3 type situation and battling here tonight for the East lead. So, but they're going to have to come up with a stop. They can't allow, Detroit to, move down the field like Detroit was able to do last drive.
Mark Lopez apparently still feeling the effects from his surgery he had earlier this week. He must have put him on some powerful painkillers or something. Says GG, Detroit wins. It's not quite, but look at Gibson running down the sideline. Hey, if he's going to make some big plays in the run game, tonight's the game. He's got to do it.
And the blocking is something that is really, really good right now with this Detroit team, right? And I don't think in any breakdown we've ever mentioned how good their blocking is, because you can't have that type of a running game without the offensive line doing what they need to do. And it's not just the offensive line themselves. Yeah, they stop everything up front, but it's from the tight ends, the fullback. And then you actually got, your other wide receivers out there blocking downfield to get those chunk plays like this.
Flowers hands it off to Keaton. Keaton gets bottled up behind the right tackle and is brought down after only a 1-yard gain by Bernie.
See, and let's hope that this, when we have those runs, right, and you actually take out a guy like, Gibson to give him a breather and make sure. I mean, they got to minimize that type of stuff so they don't get stuck behind the chains. Just like I think this is the first time they've actually got themselves behind the chains in the amount of yards they gain.
Flowers to throw on second down. It goes over the middle and it's intercepted, picked off by Peanut Say. The 11 season vet. He's been on DC for 10 seasons. Gets the pick and sets up the Dragons in great starting field position. They'll be on Detroit's side of the field.
A 4th interception for Say on the back end right there, right? And that's what you have to do if you're DC against a powerful run team like Detroit. Get them behind the chains, get them off their rhythm, get them off their schedule that they're used to being on all the time, and force them into situations that they don't want to be in. And you've actually come through with some success right here by getting your offense the ball back.
Actually are still in DC territory, but don't look now as Connor Weston is past the 20, past the 10, into the end zone. Touchdown DC. A 1-play drive gets them into the end zone. Extra point will get it all tied back up.
And what they had right there was straight man coverage, and what Detroit did right there, they went almost like zero type coverage and put themselves and did zero coverage, and they run blitz right there, right? Connor Weston just had to make the catch, break a tackle, and he's been like this all season long, making plays like this and making it happen with the 7th touchdown on the season. What a turn of events. Took 1 play after the turnover, and Peanut Say got them the ball back. 1 play later, they have now made themselves tie the ball game up. And now, I mean, are we going to see any type of a panic? Because this is something Houston didn't do last week at all, right? The turnovers that they got, they did not put any points on the board. They didn't put no pressure on Detroit. Is this going to be their first pressure situation in a few weeks? It could be.
Yeah, and Flowers did throw 2 picks last week, but to your point, Houston wasn't able to capitalize off of them. But it's got to be lingering, a little PTSD in Detroit's minds about the 6 interception game they had against Miami. Yep. I mean, every time they throw a pick, especially early on, it's gotta make them pause and say, "Is this going to be another game like that one?" Or
and then
you can't help but worry.
Yeah, and then when you have with Williams down too, right? You know that power running game is not as good as it could be with him in the game.
Williams' watch will continue as Gibson starts this possession for Detroit. Flowers checks it down to him in the backfield. That one actually counts as a pass, gets up 8 yards, and then late hit, I would say, but no flag. So I guess if there's no flag, it didn't happen.
Right. Look, and how good is the running backs in space here, right? You get Gibson out there. Williams did good before he kind of went down. I mean, these guys are doing real good things, right? But this is the situations where they may struggle. Right, is when you actually have it there and you actually get Keaton in the game. I would suggest they get Brad Taylor Wright more involved in these situations.
I would agree. Is Keaton bottled up right at the line of scrimmage again, but they're actually going to spot him about 1.5 yards. I thought he didn't look like he got anything. I thought he got a whole lot of nothing, but 3rd down and inches coming up. Gibson back out in the game.
Wow, great spot that they got. Really generous there.
They do toss it up to Gibson. He's hit right behind the line, but is able to surge forward and roll up to the 34-yard line. 1st down and 10 for Detroit. And I think that's what it's going to be is, hey, Gibson, do your thing. Go get a drink. We're going to hand it off to Keaton and just hope he doesn't drop it.
Man, let's just...
I'm telling you, I'm living it, Detroit. I know.
I don't
Keaton takes the ball, spins. Don't do that. 2nd down and 5.
Especially not him. I mean,
no, that's what I'm saying.
That's the guy you just picked off the street. Dude, we just need you to just don the uniform. You should not be in the game whatsoever. And then it just happens we're in the game, and he's like, what do I do with this?
On 2nd down, Flowers should just take a knee. Just kneel or just spike it. Hands it back off to Gibson. Yeah, much faster spin move as that one gets them up to about the 48-yard line. Another 1st down for Detroit. And DC, their defense is already capitalized by Peanut Say getting the interception, but they're also going to have to capitalize when Keaton is out there and take advantage of the situation. It's kind of like in hockey when a player's in the penalty box. You've got an advantage. You got to take advantage of that.
Yeah, look, and you have to, and now you have to curb your game plan around it, right? Be really strategic about what you're doing.
Flowers pass right between 2 defenders. Perfectly placed ball as he gets C.J. Parrish involved for the first time tonight.
Yeah, and look, and they did it, right? You actually had a good run right there by Gibson. What do? You come in there on 1st down, right? You pass it out there, and then you're finding the guy in space too, right? You're not throwing any kind of a traffic right there, because DC. I mean, it's no secret what Detroit is going to do, right? They're actually, they're still going to lean on that run game no matter who is in there. But Detroit has to be ready for anything right now because the game plan is now slightly changed a little bit.
Toss to Keaton. Look, he's able to get Hicks. He got 3 yards, and then DC spotted him a couple more as the tackle was pushed downfield a little ways. 2nd down and 5 as we're in final minute of 1st quarter already.
Look, and and maybe after that, a couple of times where Keaton didn't do what he needed to do and didn't get necessary blocks, right? He challenged the offensive line, and they're actually holding up pretty good right now.
Gibson runs off tackle left once again and gets all the way up to the 20-yard line. Steps out of bounds right on the outside of the red zone.
Man, it almost looks unfair, the amount of blocking they're getting here. And,
it's insane.
And how they're doing it. And I need to, if I ever get back, I need to clone that. I'm gonna steal all the players if I ever get another team. You guys come play for me.
Team stat comparison, over 100 rushing yards already for Detroit. We're only in the 1st quarter. Meanwhile, Dragons, -1.
Not very good because you need to get the run game going.
Winton motion up to the top. They're going to pitch this one down to Keaton. That was just a sacrificial lamb right there, Gerald. They just said, here you go, Keaton. Try not to fumble.
Yeah, it's like, hey, look.
They took his blocker away. They're like, we don't really care what happens to you.
No, like we're going to just leave you hang out to dry. We're just trying to get on to the next play.
Yeah, that's just rude. But oh well. 1st quarter down. 3 to go. We're all knotted up. 7 apiece here in Detroit. You're watching the Simulation Football League on the Virtual Football Network. I'm Mike Dykes. He is Gerald Smith. We've got Ron Haynes, Rochelle Colson with us on stats. A couple of stat gurus on stats tonight. So I would anticipate these are the most accurate stats of all time. If you're just joining us, shame on you for being late. There was a show that started at 7:15 Eastern, but also Rashawn Williams is injured. No update on him as of yet. Still looking to see if he comes back. If not, we'll try to get you an update at halftime. Rob Hunt gets the catch, picks up 3 yards, 3rd and 7.
And Rob made a quick stop there, right? He had one of the better players on the DC defense on him, and Gary Clem, and he just stopped and made that catch. Oh, wow, what?
Oh, and that's intercepted again. Peanut Say has a second on the day.
And
that's huge, Gerald.
Yeah, it's very huge, because guess what? This is almost where they had all those interceptions that they had in that Miami game, right? As they were getting close down within striking distance, they would throw a pick, right? And that should have been well in the range of Went. He just either didn't see it, didn't get his hands out far enough, but not what Detroit wanted at all.
Both of those passes that were picked off went to Went, and now DC backed up to their own goal line. They hand it off to Harrison again, and now they're minus 2 yards on the day. They got to figure this out,
and they have to get.
They got to figure it out right now.
Yeah, they got to get the run game going. Like you can't not do it. I mean, they could be in danger of getting a safety.
Oh, yeah, there it is, right on cue. A toss to Stellar in the end zone, and Detroit's defense in the backfield. And well, hey, they got the lead back, but not the way that we thought it was going to happen.
That dude got tackled in the middle of the end zone. He got the ball and went backwards. He just caught the ball and couldn't do nothing, dude. He was 5 yards into the end zone.
Couldn't even see who got that safety.
It was, wow, that was insane.
Did you see who made the tackle?
I'm gonna see if I can see it right there. 54.
It's just too fast.
Robert Cherry.
Was it Cherry?
Looked like 54, maybe 95. I don't know. It was so fast.
It looks like 54, maybe 95. And those are close.
And you're getting old now, so your eyes are bad.
And we've been old.
My eyes are getting so bad, dude.
First down and 10 from the 43-yard line.
Oh!
Intercepted again! Back-to-back picks for Detroit. Ethan Flowers has thrown 3 interceptions already. Jadooby-Doo gets in on the action.
Oh, my God. What is going on? Jadooby-Doo getting his second INT of the season. And I don't even know he was throwing it. That was he just overthrew his guy, and it just... This is what Williams being out is causing them to do. Like, still stick with it. You guys can still do well with what you have, even with Keaton in there. You guys are not doing bad at all.
Sebas Synergy back out onto the field with the Dragons. A short pass over the middle to Connor Weston. Gets a little bit of yak. 2nd down and 3. And, yeah, Dragons now in a prime opportunity to try to take their first lead of the game on this drive.
Poor Flowers is getting yelled at in the chat. Ethan, stop. Flowers, stop. Ethan, your team is wearing purple today.
Oh, Synergy fumbles it.
And he got it back.
Yeah, wow. I don't know how they did. All I saw was purple jerseys around that.
Wow.
Wow, yeah, they recovered it.
Harrison somehow picked it up, and he was just call him Johnny on the spot. He's not doing much in the run game right now, but he picked that up to make sure they got a first down and retain possession.
Such is the dangerous activity of running your quarterback as that run goes up the middle.
You know how many times you killed Jordan Sipe mid-game?
Well, yeah, plenty. That's why we had Larry Love. And then this season we're like, well, Larry's not very good, so we got Dakota West.
Yeah.
West is not yet taken to the field, but there will be a moment. There will be a moment.
There's a backup plan.
There's still time. Yeah. They're down in 3 now coming up. DC obviously not wanting to settle for a field goal, but a field goal would give them the lead in this weird game.
It is very weird. It's strange. There's turnovers all over the place. Ethan Flowers has thrown 3 picks that are just crazy, 2 to 1 guy.
Synergy on 3rd down. He's going to hand this one off. Running back bottled up right at the line, ends up gaining 2 yards, but then brought down on the play by King Jamal. And Ron Van Cleef will come out for a field goal try.
Yep, and this should give them the lead. This is nearly the extra point range right here, a chip shot, for them. So, and
Good. Made it through. So DC takes their first lead of the ball game as we go back and forth on turnovers. So Ethan Flowers, Gerald, he's thrown 8 passes so far in this one. He's completed all of them. All 8 passes. He's perfect on the day. Unfortunately, 3 of those catches were made by Dragons.
Yeah, if I told you, hey, every pass he's thrown hadn't hit the turf, you'd be like, that's great. Not really.
No, not today. That's almost 50% to the wrong team.
He's even got Mittens confused out there. He don't know what's going on.
Well, Mittens is confused on the regular.
That's truer words have never been spoken.
First down and 10 now, as once again Gibson out to start at halfback on this possession. Waiting to see if Williams can shake off his injury and come back. As Flowers rattled, but not too scared to throw the ball as he throws it right back to Henson after throwing back-to-back interceptions. Gets a nice catch or a nice completion out to Henson.
Yeah, and what a route by Robert right there, right? Right as he's making his cut, right? You know, Flowers knew where he was going to be, and he had some space there to throw it, and he didn't miss. You know, I mean, Flowers is going to have to just stop maybe trying to throw it so quick because he's made quick throws when he's actually throwing the INTs.
Second down and 9 after a 1-yard gain by Keaton.
Look, and stay true to who you are. I mean, just because Williams is out of the game right now, just stay true to who you are. I mean, when Gibson's doing it, he's getting chunk yardage.
Flowers will toss it up to Gibson, who's able to get chunk yardage once again, right on cue. He'll pick up 8, and that sets him up with a 3rd down and 1. So this is a situation where I really think you want to try to take advantage of Brad Taylor, right? Or maybe even just let Flowers run with it.
Look, and let's not forget, right? They seemingly still have Terrell Sutherland out there too.
True.
He's another guy that has a lot of experience running the ball.
They're going to hand it off to Keaton, and he's able to run 4 yards before anybody even touched him. DC's got to take advantage of that.
Yeah, dude, look, and I would have stacked the box right there.
Heck
What they
yeah.
did, they played a little bit off, right? And then the blocking on the right side of that line, right? And they brought in another tight end, right, to do it. And you got, Taylor Wright just running, looking for somebody to block, and he didn't have to block anybody.
Gibson, a rare time he's not able to spin away from the defender is Chris Britton, the 3rd, gets the stop right at the line.
See, and these are the things. It's important for Detroit on first down to get yardage because this right here, we've seen them in the past. In the past, this would be a passing situation for them in a 2nd and long. Yep.
Keaton only gains a yard on the play. 3rd down and 8 coming up.
Uh-oh. I just feel like that this could be.
Now they're going to throw. And the DC
to.
defense has been all over the field tonight with those picks. You talked about them in the pregame show, Gerald, top 5 in interceptions, and this will be play action. Flowers throws middle, and that one is caught. Wow, that actually made me nervous when I saw that ball flying, but C.J. Parrish wide open.
That was a beautiful play, right? I don't think we've seen them run that play all game long so far, right? Get your quarterback out in space, right? Separate himself and get the DBs and those linebackers looking at the quarterback, wondered if he's going to run. And that allowed, Parrish to just get a little bit of separation in that area of the zone and for Flowers to hit him in stride.
First down and 10 from the DC 32-yard line. Flowers drops back, throws middle, double coverage. That one is incomplete. Rob Hunt, the intended target, 2nd down.
And Peanut save was right there again. Right, being in a situation where he might have been able to pick that ball off, but he was able to just knock it to the ground. So, and they're still in passing formations. I think you just need to just run it.
3-man front. They only send 3.
Oh,
wow,
that was almost bad.
Yeah, it was almost bad indeed. As Peanut say, yeah, he almost had his 3rd on the day. And that's what happens when you drop 8 into coverage.
Yes, and Flowers made a bad read there.
Yes,
right. He didn't get enough air under it, and it was just almost taken away. Wow.
Another 3-man front here. So I'm interested to see if they only send 3. That means you'll have 4 receiving options, maybe 5, but you got 8 people defending it. Now they send 1. Pass down to the bottom, and that one is actually caught for another first down. So DC doing everything in their power to try to stop this pass game.
And, you know, and that I felt like that was a dangerous throw. It went right over the linebacker's head, right in Chris Britton. And typically, I mean, when he sees that, man, he's there to be able to knock it down or maybe even pick it off. I was really surprised he didn't make a play on the ball. But fortunate enough for Detroit, he didn't notice it or didn't make a play on the ball, and you know, and they got themselves in a lot better position than what they were.
First down and 10 from the 19-yard line. 3 minutes to go in the first half. Screen pass out to Gibson. That one only goes for a gain of 3. Second down and 7. Well read by DC.
Yep. Look, and they may have done a lot of film work from last week. They seen that play work to success last week, and they were ready for it right there.
Second down and 7 now. From the 16. Hand that one off to Keaton, who spins behind the line. They'll gain 3, though. Third down and 4. And interested to see what they do here.
Yeah, no need to be flashy right there, Keaton, right? Just run straight, get as much yardage as you can, right? Because he very well could have made this 3rd and 2, right? Had he not spin. And
delayed handoff, and it works to perfection as Gibson's able to allow the blocks to set up, runs right through a gaping hole. First down and goal for the Maulers.
Now we're going to see, right, because of this run right here, and, you know, we do know that we're going to see Keaton coming into the game.
2 minutes to go here in the first half. The Dragons out in front 10-9, but the Maulers, they're on the move. You're watching the Simulation Football League on the Virtual Football Network.
Gibson's right back out there.
2-minute warning gave him a little breather that he may have needed. First and goal from the 5. Hand it off to Gibson, and the blocks don't quite set up that time. Is well read. Peanuts say he's been making all sorts of plays tonight. Gets a stop there. Might have even been a TFL.
Yeah, it looked like it was a slight TFL. Well, no, I just right back at it. Right back at the same spot, but you know, I just wonder how they're going to handle this right here, right? Like, are they going to try and run in 3 times? Look at the blocking.
Gibson breaks one tackle, almost breaks the other, and he's tackled just short of the end zone. Third down and goal.
I think he might have got in. I had to take a look at that again if you're the coach. But
wow,
no, they're
close.
Not going to look at it.
And now you've got Keaton in the backfield, lined up in the eye. Keaton takes the handoff, gets into the end zone. Chris Keaton, touchdown.
And guess what? He came through and made it happen. He's like, you know, he's on the sideline saying, hey, can you give me a yard? I think I can, coach, with the right blocking. And he's done so right with, you know, Gorodul, the tight end, lead blocking to create a little bit more space for him. And this is what they need. Now, do you go for 2 here? No, you don't.
No.
They're not like that. I don't know, man. I think I might entertain it.
Yeah, there's a case to be made for it as the extra point is up and good. That gives the Maulers a 16-10 lead. The reason I wouldn't, you don't want to do it until you actually need the points. You know, sure, it would give them an 8-point lead, but there's still a lot that can happen in the game. I mean, 3 field goals would end up wiping out that lead. So no, I think going for just an extra point there was the right call. But now the DC Dragons are going to need to respond here. As you know, they were able to score on their second possession. You know, they intercepted the ball, had a one play drive, 55-yard touchdown pass. But since that time, they got safetied, and then they ended up getting a field goal on their last possession. We'll see what they're able to do here. A minute to go.
Wow.
Screen pass. And that one is well defended. You just saw tackle made on the play by Matthias Citrion. He's the one that also got that safety earlier on. Thomas Matthews, Frodo Laggins, Sean Parent, and Robert Cherry on the defensive line. You got Jack Brown, Casper Haddock, and, of course, Matthias Citrion at linebacker. The secondary after this is that pass is bounced in the air and incomplete. Dropped by Weston. You got J.W. Hartshorn, King Rashid, Ramnar Sudi, and Chris Delro, King Jamal and Jubilee Marsh in the secondary. They're down at 11. DC at risk of giving the ball back.
Yeah, and I don't know if I would throw here if I was DC.
Now they're going to. Synergy looks, fires middle into traffic. That one could have been intercepted. You had Chris Delro right in the way, but the pass is batted down. Now 36 seconds to go. All 3 timeouts. We'll see how far this can get punted away by Van Cleef, but interested to see what happens here.
Yeah, and I think they're still going to have decent field position, right? And look, and we don't know how well the return's going to be either, but man, that was kind of dangerous there.
Kick return up the middle, and listen, you've got room to work here. You got room and time.
Yep. So they have all 3 timeouts right here, and I mean, like, are they going to be aggressive in the pass game? Are they going to stick to the run and see what they get out of that? And man, this is really interesting before half, right? We know DC's going to get the ball after half, so Detroit's trying to steal some points here right at the end. At least I would if I was coaching, right? Just
yeah.
I mean, you got to be aggressive here, right? You have actually less than a 1-score lead.
Pass down to the bottom. Be aggressive, but don't be reckless. Is that one batted away? Clock stopped 24 seconds. You don't want to throw another pick.
You think they're going to throw that one pass and be like, chill out, Ethan.
Maybe not that one.
Yeah, we're just going to run this out now.
Flowers will continue throwing. Goes down to the bottom, picked off, returning it back the other way, gets up past the 50. And Detroit lucky that DC wasn't able to score as Terrence Pearson gets in on the pick party. Prevents the points there, but now DC has an opportunity, Gerald. They still have all 3 timeouts. There's not a lot of time on this clock left, but they could get in field goal range.
Yeah, dude, I don't know what Detroit was thinking there, man. And this is maybe the point you were getting at. Hey, they play better squads. But it doesn't make sense. They played a really good team last week.
They did.
And they just don't look as good on offense. 4 turnovers in the first half.
Yeah. I mean, they're on pace for another Miami-style game. They did win that game. Or, excuse me, they lost that game, but they nearly were able to win the game. They only lost by a single score, even in a 6-pick performance.
And that's the strength of this Detroit defense. So, right, and you can see him in the chat, right? Saying it right there, in Detroit defense we trust, right? Mark Lopez can even, see that himself. The AI just knows what's happening.
I called him half blind, half robot the other day.
He's literally plugged in.
He can't see, but he's just part of the machine, so
he just knows.
Ball is handed off to Chuck Steller, as they're just going to let the clock go. Now they're going to go into the no huddle.
That was so odd.
No huddle.
Call timeout. Chuck it.
Timeout with 3 seconds to go, and Synergy doing some arm stretches, getting ready to heave it deep.
Chuck it. We've seen one. I mean, we've seen a Hail Mary win a game.
Yeah,
not that long ago.
A couple weeks ago.
Now, can they get this in and actually seemingly take a lead, then get the ball back right before half? It can happen.
There won't be time for a field goal. It's score here or the half is over. Ball is away. It is caught down at the 20, but time has expired. So Weston pads his stats a little bit for him and Synergy, but you see the updated look at Synergy's stats, 113 yards. Just got a nice little chunk added on there. But that's the first half in this bizarre back and forth game. 16-10, the hometown Maulers out in front over the visiting DC Dragons. We'll head to the half and get a look at the first half stats and highlights. Gerald, your thoughts on the first half of the game?
Yeah, it's been quite the weird game, right? You have actually, a DC completing 5 passes, 1 to a running back out of the backfield, and the rest have been to Connor Weston, who had a huge gain. Over half of his yards, or nearly half of his yards, was off of 1 play, which came off the touchdown. But the Mauler defense is holding true despite the 4 turnovers from their offense. And it's going to be interesting to see, right? Hey, look, are we going to see, are we going to get an update for, from Williams and,
we'll get
what
an
his
update.
status is?
Yeah, we'll get an update on his status.
But it's still anybody's game right now because DC is going to receive the second half kickoff only down 6.
Yes, they will. And Connor Weston, your halftime player of the game, they'll get the ball here to start the second half. But first, let's see if we can take a look at the injury report and find out if Rashawn Williams is going to be able to come back. And he has elbow tendonitis. He's questionable. So Williams' watch will continue throughout the ball game, as I'm sure his teammates are saying, shake it off, man. We need you.
So if I'm looking at probable, questionable, doubtful, and out, we know out is 100% gone.
That's out. Out is out.
So doubtful, probably 75% chance he's out. Questionable, 50-50.
I'd say 50-50.
Right. So, and probable is like, 25% he's going to be out, which gives you a 75% chance to come back in. So, shake it off, Rook.
Weston returns that one for the Dragons. They'll get ready to go here in the second half. 50% completion percentage for Synergy on his first half performance. He went 5 of 10. Including that last Hail Mary play, 114 yards. Got a touchdown, no pick. His QBR, 124.6. And all of his passes were caught by Connor Weston. He had one target to James Walters, but that was it so far, as this run game still is going absolutely nowhere. We've got an update from Cameron Irvine back at VFN HQ. Cam?
Thank you, Mike. Colin Hart made history tonight just moments ago with his 200th career rushing touchdown. The 2026 Hall of Fame inductee ties the game at 7 late in the first half. Back to you.
Thank you, Cam. So far, neither one of us is right in that pick tie game.
Nope. But I will say, put some respect on Colin Hart's name.
Absolutely.
Well-deserved Hall of Famer.
Absolutely. 200. Updated look at the team stats in this one. Synergy to throw under pressure, tries to run away, breaks a tackle, can't break his second one. Sacked on the play, and fourth down. The opening drive for DC goes nowhere.
Yeah, Robert Cherry just was trying to track him down right there and just force him out of the pocket. And Sudi comes in from the cornerback position and says, no, sir, you're not getting any more yards, and he gets a sack of his own. And Detroit, wow, this defense is unreal. Even when they, for lack of better words, Ethan Flowers has been not very good. He's actually been bad.
He's not played a great game. 9 of 16. Doesn't even have 100 yards yet. 1 touchdown, 4 interceptions in the first half. His QBR is still higher than our age, Gerald, but not by as much as you'd like.
Yeah, well, if you look at the numbers differently, it kind of is your age, but...
Yeah, if you're dyslexic, well, it doesn't even make sense.
But...
You see his QBR there, 54.4.
Yeah, there you go. But, like...
I'm 45. You're 44 for like another day and a half.
Yeah.
Give or take.
Yeah, it happens.
You'll be right up there.
Just
colonoscopy season. That's the year for it.
Yeah.
Good times. Good times had by all. Gibson with the carry. It's Gibson or bust for the rest of this one. You got Gibson. You've got Keaton. It's going to be those two guys as Gibson gets 6, and here's Keaton on the field.
Right, and we actually seen last week, right? Like, after, a halfway point, Detroit started owning the game on the ground.
Keaton.
Wow.
Keaton. Power running.
8 yards. Go Keaton right there, making it happen, right? He's probably on the sideline, and Williams is coaching him up. Say, bro, how I got 800+ yards in 10 games?
Yeah.
Just run straight and try to run people over.
Yeah, because Williams effectively he's just resting on the sideline. He's just going over to Keaton and trying to give him some pointers. Flowers here back to throw over the middle. That one's complete. Got it out to Jimmy Went, but. Yeah, Williams is just saying, listen, Keaton, my elbow is tinnitusing right now. What do you have? Elbow tinnitus?
Tendonitis.
Tendonitis?
Tendonitis.
He's just
I think that's a myth. I just think he's like, look, let's just see how they gonna do without me. I think they
tired.
I think is he just challenging his own squad to see how well
that's
they're
a
gonna
real
play?
thing. Anyway, he's coaching up Keaton. Yeah, that's the point. First down and 10 from the DC 22-yard line. Detroit with a 6-point lead, looking to make this a 2-score game as Keaton gets tackled for a loss in the backfield. Going down in the backfield's Chris Britton III.
Yeah, Chris Britton was not fooled at all right there. But this is the situation, right? When they're in second and long, traditionally from what we've seen, Detroit has passed the ball. This could be an opportunity for DC.
Flowers rolls out, top throws middle to Wint. And that one will set up the Maulers with a first down and goal at about the 8-yard line.
Went with a huge catch, even though he had Gary Clem just bearing down on him, he still held on to the ball, found some space right there, and gets inside the 10 around the 7-yard line. So this is going to be, are we going to see something similar like we've seen last time, right? From this area right here, right? They actually had Gibson get him down there and Keaton punch it in.
Flowers throws, end zone. That one's incomplete, but a flag
PI
on the play. Yeah, definitely. So it'll be a first down and goal for Detroit at the 1-yard line with a fresh Andrew Gibson waiting for the football.
Yep, and this could be, and this could turn the game around. You know what I mean? Right here, but like them right here is just trying to put it in, and as of lately, right, me calling Robert out, and that's the only way you're going to miss a pass. If Robert's going to miss a pass is if you hit him way before the ball gets there, and it happened right there.
Flowers under center. He's going to throws top, and it's intercepted. Kneeling it down for the touchback. Why not just hand it off to Gibson there?
What
First and goal, middle of the third. Hand it off.
Like we're not in Miami, guys. Here, like I don't know what you're doing. This is how you literally lose a game. You could have put yourself in a real secure position with a touchdown. That's not the one. Who would do that? Who called that play? I have no idea.
I don't know, but it's like they're trying to force passes into Jimmy Wint. 3 passes his direction were all picked off.
Wow.
DC takes over unscathed from a first and goal at the 1-yard line, and they're able to maintain being down only a single score. 5 interceptions thrown by Flowers once again. Gerald, he's got 21 on the season, which is ironically pretty good, this top 10. But he had 6 in one game. He's on pace to potentially beat that number.
Yeah, it's really bad for them right now, right? And their defense is so strong. And look at this right here. Look at the first downs by DC. And look at them by Detroit. Detroit is literally owning the game, but
yeah,
the biggest stat there is
turnovers.
0 turnovers to 5.
Yep. But once again, even though they're turning the ball over that much, they're still winning the game. Synergy over the middle. That one is complete, giving DC some breathing room as Mason Kirby gets the catch. The first receiver, not named Connor Weston, to catch a pass tonight.
I don't know, man. Like, it's just I'm confused. In my mittens outfit, I am confused.
Well, Mittens has been confused most of the game. Synergy to pass again, middle. That one's incomplete. Weston had it, but it was knocked free. Great punishing hit by Chris Delro.
See, and those are the opportunities for DC that you cannot squander, right? Connor Weston being the wide receiver that he is. I mean, he's got to hold on to that. But, who we're yet to see, even get a target right now is Lauren Prococo, who's typically one of. Oh my God!
Oh, Synergy sacked on the play. Jack Brown rifles into the backfield, 3rd down and 15. And yes, I was thinking the same thing about Prococo. No targets on the day, and only 1 to Walters. They usually love getting their tight ends involved.
Right, and it's kind of strange. And look, and Ray, it had no time to find anybody. As Jack Brown, right, the 16th season vet, coming right on through, untouched. Very, very good, timely sack right there to push him way back just when DC thought they may have had a little bit of momentum.
Synergy. Back to pass, has all kinds of time, throws up to the top in double coverage.
Oh,
no flag on the play.
I cannot believe there was no flag there. Weston got hit. It was early, if you ask me.
Looked like an early hit to me, but no flag means it wasn't. So
wow,
another 4th down for DC, and they will punt once again. Lauren Percoco averages over 5 catches per game. She averages darn near 100 yards per game. She has no targets in this one yet. No targets at all.
Wow. Detroit dodged somewhat of a bullet there, I think. But look, give credit to the defense, right? They still made the plays they need to do, and they're making it a tough task for this DC offense to do anything. And we saw it last week, right? Them slow down a really good. I mean, even though they had been reeling right and a little bit in trouble in Houston, but they dominate them, and they're doing the same. The defense is doing the same thing here, even though their offense in Detroit is sputtering with 5 turnovers.
So Detroit back out on the field now. Gibson looking every bit the top running back that he is. You know, obviously Rashawn Williams is the top back in this city here. Darn near 200 carries on the season, over 800 yards. Number 1 in the league in touchdowns with 11. But Gibson, even despite the fact that Williams has all those stats, you've got over 100 carries, almost 600 yards. He's got well over that now with his 100-yard performance here tonight. He's averaging almost 5 yards per carry. That's actually better than Williams, and only 5 touchdowns to Williams' 11. But that's because Williams gets so many touchdowns himself.
Yep.
Henson with another catch. So, you know, they've got the player to do it, but with Williams out, it just makes it so tough to distribute the ball properly. Minnesota-Lexington, that one's at the half. Minnesota out in front 10-7 at halftime. Minnesota clinging on to their playoff lives. Lexington trying to make a splash here the second half of the season. Gibson trying to get a first down, and he does.
Yeah, and they're going to look, and it's when they get these yards, right? And this is going to be huge right here, right? Like, what are they going to do on first down? Or are they going to keep themselves ahead of the change right here? But because they pick up 2 yards or less, right, they're typically throwing those situations.
Pass over the middle. What a rifle. That was thrown on a rope to Rob Hunt. Gets his second catch of the day, and it's a good one.
And I think that was the best pass of the night for Ethan Flowers, right? Seeing that he was open, had some space, and threw it on a rope right to him. But this is where they've gotten themselves into trouble, Mike. Like right here, as they get into the red zone, they've had 2 turnovers, that, you know, to my knowledge, at least 2 turnovers inside this area here.
We've seen one right in the end zone. And another one that was either just short of the end zone or he brought it out.
Yep.
Resulted in
and that's
the
safety.
Gibson.
I
thought he was gone too, Gerald. Got chased down from behind, touchdown saving tackle after a 7-yard pickup.
Don't get cute. Stay who you are, right? Run that look. And your offensive line is by far the best in the SFL right now, what you're able to do in the run game. So don't deviate from that if you want to be successful here.
Went moves down to the bottom, 2nd down and 3. Flowers tosses it to Keaton. Keaton bottled up behind the line, and the Dragons swarm to ultimately get the TFL. Peanut Say with the tackle.
So as I'm watching this game right here, 3rd and 4 from the 8-yard line. What is Detroit going to do here? Are they going to run it and just settle for some points?
I think they're going to throw, and they do. Pass end zone, touchdown to Robert Henson, and Detroit extends the game to a 2-score lead.
And what are they doing? The guy with the sure hands the last 2 weeks, I call the man out, and what he does, he shoves it right back into my face. He was perfect in targets and catches last week. He is the same way this week. 4 targets, 4 catches for just over 10 yards apiece with a touchdown. Way to come through. Robert Henson right there. Mittens approves as you guys now take a 2-score lead, which is much needed for them.
Oh, yeah.
Seeing how the offensive woes they had with the turnovers. So now they, in my opinion, they are completely in the driver's seat because DC has not been able to muster a whole lot of offense.
No, DC's been struggling in this one, Gerald. They've, they've had the advantage since the beginning with Williams injured early on, and the defense has been doing exactly what they've needed to be doing with 5 takeaways. But, Mark Lopez pointing out in the chat, and he even broke into the stats truck to throw this out there, that DC's takeaways, 5 of them so far, have only netted a handful of points because they got the touchdown for 7, but then he docked them 2 points for, a safety after a pick right by the goal line. They got a field goal for 3, ended the half, didn't get any points, and then another drive they had to punt. So 5 takeaways and only 8 points to speak of it. It's kind of like what was going on in Miami. They picked off the ball repeatedly, but they could barely win the game.
Yeah, they were still in that game.
Yep. Synergy's got to get something going here as that pass over the middle, finally trying to target Lauren Percoco, her first target of the ball game, but it's broken up and incomplete.
So I wonder if our wonderful commish, who's just stockpiled full of stats, is the biggest turnover differential between 2 teams and somebody be negative in turnovers differential in a game and still win the game?
Yeah.
Because right now they're -5 and they're up by 2 scores.
Synergy throws, Percoco catches that one, gets a first down for the Dragons, and maybe this will be the drive of Percoco.
Yeah, look, and they need to get her involved because they are better when she is involved. So, her coming right here to come up big, right, and this is the time that they're going to start using it and everything else. But, I mean, Detroit knows what's coming because DC knows that they have to throw it, and Detroit is very well aware of that.
Synergy, middle, complete. Checks it down to Kevin Say, getting Kevin Say involved in the pass game for a first down.
Right, and he's coming right out the backfield, right? Just running a little bit of a wheel route, like right up the middle, and finds himself open, unaccounted for, running right in the middle of the zone.
Final moments of quarter number 3, ticking away. Final play of the third quarter will be a handoff and a gain of 5. So put your 4s up in the chat. 4s, 12s, 86s, and heck, any other number you feel like throwing out there. Why not? It's 23-10 here in Detroit. 3 quarters down, 10 minutes remains here in the Week 14 opening game. It's been an exciting one so far, a weird one. Lots of turnovers. We've seen picks, we've seen fumbles, we've seen safety, we've seen field goals, touchdowns.
Backup scoring touchdown. Robert Henson not missing a ball after I call him out. It's just such a strange game.
Cats and dogs living together. Chaos and mass hysteria.
Yes.
I'm Mike Dykes. He's Gerald Smith. Ron Haynes. Rochelle Colston on stats. Mark Lopez, Brett Killian both breaking into the truck at some point. Not sure who left it unlocked. Probably Rod. They're down to 2 coming up. Cameron Irvine on production back at VFN HQ. Big third down pickup by DC, and they actually not only get that first down pickup, Gerald, but got some good yards out of it as well.
Yeah, and it's really important for DC right here, in my opinion. I mean, a field goal, I think they're 4 down territory, right? Because they haven't gotten down here very often. And actually, they haven't gotten down here really at all, right? Given that their other touchdown was for 60-plus yards.
Screen pass. Screen pass goes for great yards. Perfect blocking setup.
Wow. They baited it, and guess what? Detroit defenders thought they had a clear sack. They ran up, ready to just kind of destroy Synergy, but let the running back leak out there with some blockers in hand and being able to pick up like a lot more yards. Roughly 12 yards right there. But DC's got to cash in and put a touchdown up here.
Trying to cut it back down to a 1-score ball game. Synergy throws into heavy traffic.
Lauren Percoco.
Wow. I don't know how she caught that one.
When you throw it in her vicinity, she is among the best, and she just picked it up right off the turf in a sea of traffic.
2nd down and 1 from the 4-yard line. So they can get a first down without scoring. And Synergy's going to just run it in himself and cut into Detroit's lead. Touchdown, DC.
I don't even think Detroit thought that was coming, and he was untouched right off, right off the right side of the offensive line and just cut right in, the inside of James Walters right there, who made a decent block, kind of got in the way. What a drive to answer.
What a drive. Oh, yeah.
That's exactly what they needed.
Well, and you talked about DC's run game and the struggles that they've had. And this stat here goes hand in hand with that. The number one rusher in yards is Sam Harrison. Number two, Sebastian Synergy. The number one average in rushing yards is Chuck Steller. Number two, Sebastian Synergy. Number one in rushing touchdowns, there ain't nobody at number one. It's just Sebastian Synergy. So, the run game has struggled, but they've been supplementing with Synergy. He is the leading quarterback in the league in rushing touchdowns and right up there in yards and carries as well. I think he's actually number one in carries, believe it or not, if I recall correctly. But either way, he's getting it done. Mark with only one eye, but man, he has been yelling all game in the chat. He wants everybody to click that like button. Please do. Pass over the middle to Henson. Henson with hands of glue tonight, Gerald.
I know he's perfect, man. You know what? I had to get on the sideline, put the costume on, and he can hear me yelling at him through like, "You don't have it, stone hands."
I don't think that's what a mascot's supposed to do. I think you're supposed to say, "Go, Robert, go."
I made him motivate.
Through fear and intimidation. Like the anti-mascot over there. First down and 10 from the 37, now trying to protect a 6-point lead as that run goes to Keaton for only a short gain, second down.
Yeah, look, and this is where, I do think if Detroit goes down and is able to get themselves a 2-score lead, I do think they're able to put this on ice because they've been taking a ton of time off the clock when they've actually gone down and scored. So if they get points on the board here, I think DC is in a lot of trouble.
I thought Gibson was going to get a first down there, but one DC defender was able to break away and make the tackle. But big third down here for both of these squads. Detroit looking to put this one on ice. DC looking to get a shot at this to get back into it. Third down and 4 from their own 42-yard line.
I think this is a Robert Henson pass here.
Flowers looks to throw. He starts to run, breaks a tackle, and is brought down in the backfield. Sacked by Gary Burney, and DC will get the ball back, still only down 1 score.
What an impressive defensive drive right there, because typically, like when they roll out, they get Flowers out in space. He has been successful in the past, right? And I was thinking, hey, and maybe he was looking to Henson, right? He's been the sure-handed guy on this squad when they needed a big catch, and guess what happens? Henson was covered. He didn't have anybody open, and Flowers thought he may have had a lane to run, but DC pegged it right off the bat and was able to just attack him and get the sack. Now DC they have to do what they did last drive and just string it together, mix in the run game and make it happen. Look, and you know what happened last time, right? Lauren Prococo was really big on that drive. Lauren Prococo had 3 targets, right? I know she only got 28 yards, off of those 2 catches. But you know what? You then made Detroit aware that she is still relevant in the game, and they have to start watching her.
So DC back out onto the field now with their own 23. Punt was taken at the 15, returned 8 yards up the middle. They're going to try to stick with this run game. Kevin Say, nothing to it. Second down and 10.
And they had more success in the passing game, on their last drive. The run game is just not very good at all.
Synergy middle. Prococo past midfield down to the 43-yard line. A huge catch for the Dragons.
You cannot let one of the best tight ends in the game that open. She ran right by it. The safety cheated up right there in Delro, and she just ran right by him and got them into Detroit territory. She has been relevant in this fourth quarter. And you just turned a blind eye to her this time. You cannot do that.
Percoco coming to life here in the second half. Synergy over the middle. Connor Weston catches the ball down at the 30. Still plenty of time left for both of these teams, though, Gerald. No rush, no panic by either squad. I know DC desperately wants to get the lead.
Oh, and definitely, right? And I do think for them, I'm like, look, if you go in tempo and everything else is going to get you that lead, you get it and you take it, because you force 5 turnovers. So get there and do it, and Synergy has been clean.
Toss down to the bottom. Chuck Stellar for 4.
That's got to be a Cho moment right there. JW got smashed.
I heard it in your voice.
Right there by Chuck Stellar. Like,
Chaw Stellar.
Jeez.
Second down and 6 from the 26. Synergy under pressure, breaks a sack, throws nearly an interception, and that one's incomplete. That play was just busted.
That was disaster.
It was straight up disaster. Disaster averted, though. No interception thrown.
Avoided a sack and just randomly just threw it.
Synergy now under center with 3 receivers to the top, 1 to the bottom. Synergy looks, throws middle, incomplete. I thought that one was picked. It looked like that Chris Delaro had it in his hands for a moment, and then it popped out. 4th down, and they're going to have to settle for a field goal.
And I know they're going to settle for the field goal, but, man, I don't like the idea of settling for a field goal here. But 4th and 6 is way too long to go for it here. So I don't blame them one bit.
No wind in this beautiful indoor stadium, so the kicks look like field goals look like extra points no matter what the distance, as DC able to cut this one down to a 3-point ball game. So now it falls onto the shoulders of the DC defense to try to get yet another stop, and it falls heavily on Ethan Flowers' shoulders to not make any more mistakes. He's been better here in the second half.
And I was about to say that, right, when you mentioned like it's on the shoulder of DC defense, but is it? I think it's more on the shoulders, like you said, of this Detroit offense to try and run this clock out and hang on to the ball. And look,
Henson calling for Williams to get a shot and come back out.
They have not been very good in how they've handled the situation since Williams had went out. They're forcing the pass a little bit too much. And, I mean, we've seen, just recently, hey, DC was able to force a punt right there. There it is. I hope to live the age of that QBR.
First down and 10 from the 26. Flowers throws a short one over the middle. That one complete to Wint for a gain of 3. Ellie Diomas in the chat says, Dag, stop jinxing us. I don't actually believe in jinxes at all. Like, I don't think that's actually a thing. But the audacity to break into our stats truck and then tell me what to do. Flowers back to throw into double coverage, triple maybe. There's a lot of white jerseys in there. Gerald trying to pull his hair up, but he don't have it.
I'm severely follically challenged, and I was like, "What's going on?" That was quite dangerous right there. But it's 3rd and long. Here's the opportunity DC has been waiting on, and they might be able to force themselves a turnover here.
They're down at 7.
It looks like they're going to drop 8 in coverage.
Flowers back to pass. Throws middle. That one is complete for another Detroit first down. So a big opportunity for the Dragons. They are not able to capitalize in Detroit. In DC territory now.
Yeah, Shelton
just short of it.
Yeah, Shelton finding himself open looking, and Flowers is fixing those woes that he had early on.
Run up the right-hand side by Keaton, good for a gain of 5, and that'll keep the clock rolling. So every first down now, Gerald's going to take a couple minutes off the clock here. DC going to be forced to start burning their timeouts here in just a little bit.
Yeah, and looking and with Keaton picking up that big chunk of yards on first
that
down,
helps.
I mean, it'll give Gibson some pep.
Ooh, Gibson able to pick up 4. Another big 3rd down for both of these squads here. 3rd down and 1 coming up.
It's either this is me. It's Brad Taylor Wright or it's Ethan Flowers. I would not give it to Keaton.
Brad Taylor Wright is in the fullback spot. Flowers hands it off to Keaton. Keaton bottled up behind the line, and he gets it. A first down, but will we get another look at this one?
You have to challenge this right here if you're DC. If you don't challenge it, you can't take the challenges with you. What are you doing? You have 15 seconds to do this.
No
That's worth
challenge. No challenge called. 10th third down conversion on the night for the Maulers. Oh, dangerous throw. That one kind of floated. It's kind of wild, Gerald. Third down conversions. Detroit has had 10 third down conversions tonight. DC has only had 9 first downs. They don't even have as many first downs as Detroit has third down conversions.
It's so lopsided. It makes no sense.
Second down and 10 now from the 45. Flowers to Gibson. Gibson for 8. That'll bring us to the 2-minute warning with 1:59 here on the clock. The Detroit Maulers out in front, 23-20 over the DC Dragons. Detroit in possession of the football. DC desperate to get it back. You're watching the Simulation Football League on the Virtual Football Network. You've got Gibson in the backfield. You've got Brad Taylor Wright in the fullback spot. 3 receivers out in the set for the Maulers. Gibson gets the handoff, bouncing around, pinballs his way up to the 40. Timeout called.
They're going to get a shot.
Yeah, they're going to, because they are out of field goal range here. Man, this is a big dice roll, but I'd be tempted to go for it, but you can't.
I would be too, because I think, look, now that they have a timeout, it gives your guy rest. Your top guys rest. You can bring them in, and it increases your chances of getting it.
Listen, I hate overtime. I hate it. And obviously, DC hoping to at least get to that. But, man, as a coach, I hate it so bad. It's like, man, we just played a whole game, and it was effectively for nothing, because now we're just going into a sudden death shootout. I hate it. DC at their own 20-yard line. Let's see what they do on this drive. Synergy back to throw. Nope, he decides to take off and run with it, but gets wrapped up and tackled by Parent. A 6-yard sack.
Wow. You would think Synergy can just outrun him to the edge, but
I thought he was
Parent
definitely going to.
Was just there. Let me get another look. I don't know if Synergy tried to do. He tried to stiff arm him, and he got confused with, Matthias Citrion kind of being in the backfield and didn't know if he wanted to go up the middle or around. And this is a huge setback for DC.
Synergy throws up top, swatted away, and now it's 3rd down and 16 coming up on the biggest drive of the season for the Dragons.
So you need to get some of this back. You don't need all of it on this down right here.
At least half.
It's 4-down territory. Set yourself up for success here.
3rd down and 16 from their own 14. Synergy throws. That one's caught. 4th down and 2, as they will call their second timeout to prepare for this play.
And they can do just about anything here, right? It's a long 1.5 yards.
If they get it, if they get the first down, the drive will continue. If they don't, Detroit will get this win.
Detroit's got 8 in the box.
Synergy pitches it, breaking the tackle, turnover on downs. Detroit reclaims the ball with only 1:04 and DC having 1 timeout. Detroit will sneak away with their 9th win on the season.
Yeah, and I don't know why you would choose to pitch it to Chuck Stellar. I'm not saying he's not good, but he's not the quickest out of your ball carriers. That was not a very good decision there, and they just... Wow, what a defensive performance, though, must I say, by Detroit to be able to hang on after all the stuff the offense put them in a bad situation.
For sure. Anything that could go wrong on offense seemingly did, as Flowers threw 5 interceptions on the day. And after you saw Williams only with 2 carries on the ball game, and Gerald, he had 17 yards. He averaged 8.5 yards per carry on those 2 carries, injured for the rest of the game. Everything stacked against them on offense, but the defense able to come through, and that was without even getting any interceptions. They didn't even recover the fumble that they forced, but they were able to, get the win. And we've got one more update from Cameron Irvine back at VFN HQ.
Thank you, Mike. When you guys are done, Lexington just got an interception. They are in the red zone, trailing 20-10 with 7:28 to go in the fourth quarter. It's 2nd and goal over there. A good one as Minnesota tries to get their 7th win of the year, and Lexington tries to stay alive in the playoff hunt. Back to you.
Thank you, Cam. Exciting game for everybody to switch over to and watch as this one wraps up. Final is going to be 23-20. The Detroit Maulers advance to 9-2 on the season. DC will drop to 7-4 and get right into that mix of all those other teams. DC Dragons will close out the season at home versus the Lexington Miners, and Detroit hits the road next week at Pittsburgh. We got more games coming up tonight. We've got at 9:45 in about 25 minutes time, Fort Worth at Carolina, and then at 10 p.m. Oklahoma City at Albuquerque. Gerald and I will be in Albuquerque for that call. Gerald, your final thoughts on this one?
I think this game was a lot more about the Detroit defense's ability to stop the run for the 2nd consecutive week and forces the opponents in tough situations. They didn't force any turnovers, but this defense is so strong that they can give up, be -5 in turnovers, and still do enough to win the game. Credit to Detroit. Their defense is for real. Clean up the mistakes on offense, and you might be looking at a championship caliber squad.
100%. Definitely a championship caliber squad for sure. They proved that tonight and all season long. For Gerald Smith, Ron Haynes, Rochelle Colston, Cameron Irvine, and Matt Wilson, who's always with me in spirit, I'm Mike Dykes. Thanks for joining us. Be kind to one another. Always choose happy. Have a great night. We'll see you next time.